Welcome to the show. Here, we will gain the perspectives of people who could potentially show us the path of becoming who we want to be and living the life we want to live, all through personal growth. So sit back and relax. This is Joy's Perspectives. Welcome back to the podcast, guys. Really excited to get this rolling, and we just keep going. We're going to keep everything constant so we can get at least one episode out a week after we do this launch, which is coming out this weekend. I am really excited to launch it. Today, I got a couple of guests. Like I mentioned in the last podcast, we're bringing in Irving. I said he goes by Xavi. That's how I call him. And we're bringing in Shaylee. They have a video dropping this next week about Halloween. We're recording this on Halloween, actually. They're going to be carving pumpkins with their kids, and they're going to be, introducing their kids into the podcast. They're both single parents, so I just want to welcome them here. Thank you for coming, Irving and Xavi. Irving and Shaylee.
Hey, guys. So actually, I go by Xavi when I introduce myself to girls. I go by Irving to the rest of the world.
I've known Irving or Xavi or whatever for, it's been 10 years.
It's been a long time, yeah.
So back then, he first introduced himself as Javier, and then he introduced himself as Irving, and then he went back to Javier, then he went to Xavi. So when I talk to people about him, like, I got to mention all three names because who knows who
you might know him as the
who knows what line
the myth,
he hit
the
in.
legend, who knows?
Honestly. But thanks for coming, guys. These guys, like I said, are both single parents, and that's something that I kind of want to bring into. They're both living great lives. They're both got happy daughters. How are they, by the way?
Great.
They're good. We both went to go watch our kids do the Halloween parade.
Oh, sweet.
I went in the morning to my daughter's school.
Yeah, Aubrey's was in the afternoon. She looked a little fucked up. Excuse my language, guys.
She looked a little messed up.
She looked a little messed up, but you know what? Still cute, though. Cutest one there, for sure.
But awesome. Tell me, so their podcast, or they're not their podcast, but their vlog is called Trainwrecked.
Yeah,
How's that
Trainwrecked. You guys
First
can
of all,
actually go look us up on YouTube. We should be like one of the first ones that pop up there. Right now we have 5 videos out. 4 of them are actually videos. One of them we released as a trailer. So go show us some love, guys. Go subscribe and like some of our videos.
And y'all got to know the name comes because it's all guys and one girl. It's
Yeah,
not like actual porn, you got to know what you're getting into. Yeah, you see how we live our lives a little bit, but it's not porn.
But there's a lot of variation to that. We have videos where we're, attending parties, but we also have some videos that, like I said, we're releasing the one with our kids. So we do both. We know how to, balance both.
And that's what this podcast is about, right?
Yeah, that's why it's called Joy's Perspectives. It's about perspectives from all angles. That's why I'm going to be bringing on different guests, and Shaylee and Irving are really big in my life. You'll catch me in some of their videos here and there when I'm with them. But yeah, it's always important to have a good time. It's important to have fun, as long as you're not, doing anything that's going to wreck your future or anything. Keep it clean. Keep it legal. Safe. Yeah, keep it legal.
Keep it legal.
That's a pretty safe bet. But it's always good to have a good time and relieve stress and keeps you guys pushing to the goal. But you guys are both single parents. Tell me what you guys are doing right now that, I see you guys as successful single parents. So what attributes do you think accommodate that?
You take this one first, Sherry.
You just have to set goals, first of all, and you just keep going. You always have your kid in mind. Like, ever since I became a mom, I've never had a good night of sleep. Like, literally, it's all about your kid, and that's all you think about. Yeah, on the weekends, you forget that you're a mom sometimes. Your kid's asleep, but you wake up in the morning and bam, you're a parent again. You're making breakfast at 7 a.m. with a little bit of a hangover, but it's all right, right? Okay.
Yeah, there's some attributes that you cannot get without being a parent. I have a niece. She's a year younger than my daughter, and we were all playing the game Guess Who. Have you guys ever played that game Guess Who, where you have like a bunch of people? Yeah,
And you're trying to
Mhm.
guess who it is.
Yeah.
Rob with the blonde hair.
yeah, something like that. Anyways, my niece she didn't know how to play, and I was kind of getting mad, and my daughter kept looking at me like like slow down, like she's learning. And then it got to one point where I told my niece like, oh, I'm sorry, like we can't play because you don't know how to play. And my daughter looks at me and she's like, yeah, we'll teach her. And I was like, dang. Like
Patience.
yeah, there's some things that you just cannot like see, like a kid's perspective kind of feeds into that a lot.
Okay, so having a kid in a way not only is an extra responsibility for you guys to have, but it's also a learning opportunity where it has grown you guys personally.
Yeah, you double think things a lot.
You grow up a lot.
Yeah, you have to like double or sometimes like triple think things.
And you notice that your kids reflect on you, so like the
A lot.
way, yeah, a lot, yeah, more than you would expect. You look at your kids, sometimes you're like, oh shit, that was me, you know. So you tend to be a little more careful in front of your kids.
I like that. There's a reason why. I mean, Irving and I have been friends for so long. We've both grown a lot since 10 years ago. Like I mentioned in the last podcast, or it was either two or one or two ago, where there was different impacts in my life who have made me who I am today. One of the things that's helped Shaylee and Irving grow, and what I've definitely seen, has been their kids. And I mean, one of the big things I wanted to talk about today was eliminating excuses. And that's why I brought in two single parents, because they've eliminated all excuses and made sure that they were successful in their arenas and that they can, provide for an extra life and grow themselves, which they have. Tell me, financially, how you guys doing, or, are you guys meeting up with your goals? What do you guys see yourselves doing within the next 2, 5, 10 years?
Well, we're obviously not millionaires yet. Big emphasis
Like and
on the
subscribe.
yet.
It's definitely different because like one of us, does the single parenting literally alone.
Yeah.
Doesn't have any government assistance, child support, whatever. So I do okay, but I could have more money,
I mean, even though my daughter's mom does, I don't know if you want to put this in the podcast or not, but even though she does receive some money for, my daughter being deaf, she mostly uses that for her rent. She's broke all the time, so like my child support and me buying her clothes and giving her money and stuff like that just kind of plays along for the most part.
And that's where I come from when I say we set goals.
Yeah,
Like,
financial wise, like, obviously there's a lot of things that you have to rethink of what you can and can't do. You can't just
Buy a 370Z and expect to still have money in your bank account.
no, but you can you have to learn how to make sure that it gets divided, because obviously if let's say your daughter's asking you for this, or she needs things for school, she needs new clothes and stuff like that, you can't go out and buy yourself brand new clothes and not buy your kid new clothes too, because then that's kind of stupid and you're not putting your priorities where where they should belong. So you kind of have to learn how to divide that.
And being a parent,
equally.
you have to always expect the unexpected. Like, my kid will get sick. Shit, they might need braces sometime, like things you never expect. When my kid's 16, I have to buy her a car type of thing,
My parents didn't buy me braces or a car, but
Oh, get out.
you guys are good parents.
For real.
That's why we're here, folks. The successful ones.
You guys explained different extra responsibilities that the kids brought. Something I kind of want to hear is, what benefits do you guys feel that you guys have over someone like me who doesn't have kids, or us single people? What advantages could you guys have for the viewers who are single parents and looking for a way to win at life, to get ahead without having that excuse?
Honestly, and this goes for you guys too, I don't think whether you're a single parent or you're single yourself, or you have 10 kids, I don't think either person has advantages or disadvantages. You kind of just have different ways of thinking.
Maybe
A
more
different
love
point of
in your
view.
heart.
Yeah, you don't have disadvantages or advantages. Obviously, yeah, if you have 10 kids, the big disadvantage is that you have to buy 10 pairs of shoes, 10 uniforms for school, things like that. But financially, you should be able to, set goals, especially if you're having that many kids to, okay, I
Tax
need
money.
to do this. And the tax money is a big break. You just have a different way of looking at things where if you, and it's so hard for me to explain it now because I can't go back, almost 6 years and think how I was thinking before. I can't think like, oh, if I didn't have a daughter, like, how would I be thinking, I probably would look a lot less into the future. I think I probably would look a lot more like nearsighted, what's happening now than like, oh snap, like, my daughter's gonna be 10 years in the future, like, how am I gonna be able to financially support her, have a house, things like that.
And he did ask, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In a much bigger studio than this.
That means we're looking up to you, Joseph. Thanks for having us. That's a wrap. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Thanks for coming, guys. And honestly, I look up to you guys, which is the reason why I brought you on. You guys are the only ones in our groups, in our kind of friendship group that have kids, and you guys, I mean, you guys are successful. I feel like you guys grow. You guys know how to have a good time. You guys both, you both have pretty nice cars.
Yeah.
And good situations, and happy girls. I mean, your girls are the cutest, and that's why I have you on here, and just so we can just show people, like, not to make any excuses. Irving and I, we do some business together, and what we've learned in the business is to not make your kids an excuse, but a reason.
Yep.
To push on, because so many people, our minds are trained to find an excuse, a reason why we can't complete something or reach a goal, because honestly, I mean, it's kind of like petting ourselves on the back.
Yeah.
It's okay, you have it harder.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys have taken it by the reins and just pushed forward and used their kid as a reason to do good in their lives.
Yeah, well, it's a way of people think the grass is always greener on the other side, Oh, that guy doesn't have a kid, or that couple, they're single parents, or they're just single, they don't have any kids, so they don't have to worry about certain things, like, oh, they got like a one-up in life. No, you just, like I said, it's just different ways of thinking about it. Now that you do have a kid, then it kind of makes you think a little bit different, like, okay, now that I do have a kid and I do have extra expenses, what am I gonna do, to still be able to move forward and, get to the point like, oh, I want to buy a nicer car next year. Okay, what do I gotta do? It kind of makes you push yourself a little bit harder.
Irving obviously is one of the guys who uses his kid, his daughter, as a reason to push forward. Like he said, he would set, he thinks in advance. He's not thinking about right now, look, I got to take my daughter to school. I got to get her clothes. I have to pay for her special school and all of these. Like right now, he's thinking, okay, a year from now, I want to be at this point. He used the example of a car. I want a nicer car, but it could be anything. You want to, a better physique. You want to live in a better place. You want to get your kids in a better school, or it could be anything.
Even just live.
Exactly. You want to think ahead of time, see what it's going to take to get there, and just do it. Kids or not.
And kids will never pretend to be your excuse either. If anything, they'll encourage you to be yourself, because let's be honest, like, as our kids start getting older, they start to be more and more independent, and the more they want to do things on their own. Like your daughter, she's always wanting to go play with her, she doesn't care if mom's there or not, as long as she's having fun. And kids kind of pick up on that.
My kid even started cooking and stuff, so
they're their own people. You can't pretend that you yourself are, you are feeding into them, but they're their own entity, and they pick up on everything you do. So if you always pretend like they're an excuse, then they physically are gonna become an excuse, and they're gonna think that they're the reason why you didn't move forward. Whereas if you continue living your life, you do have a kid, you have responsibilities, but if you continue living your life, then they see that too. And obviously, if your kids see that you're happy and you're enthused about life and you're passionate about stuff, they're gonna pick up on that too.
But at the same time, you shouldn't feel like you have to always put on a happy face in front of your kid. Like, oh, my kid can't see that I'm upset or that I'm struggling. Like, they learn off of your, like, issues and your mistakes and everything, too. Like, when I'm having, like, a bad day and I'm crying, yeah, my kid is there and she's comforting me half the time, too, you know? Like, we're, like, best friends. We comfort each other. And it's okay for them to see it's okay to have emotions. You don't tell your kid, like, don't cry, you know, hold it in, whatever. It's okay to cry and it's okay to have emotions. And, you know, we're human beings. We have feelings and stuff. And she can be there for me. I can be there for her. It's growth together.
Facts.
Facts. No, and I really like that, honestly. One of the biggest reasons why well, not one of the biggest reasons, but a good reason why I started the podcast was to have someone hold me accountable for being who I am, hold me accountable for the goals that I set, and hold me accountable for, you know, being who I want to be and going in the direction that I want to go. Kids, I feel like you always want to have something or someone that can help you be accountable, whether that's a chart, making notes, or just, you know, writing down all your successes, or having someone physical like you guys, like my viewers. I want to keep the podcast so I can bring all my worlds into one, so I could be one person and successful. And their kids, their daughters, they could be that person where they just want to be the best for their daughters. They want to be accountable through their daughters, that they're going to be the people that they're going to say they're going to be, and they're going to do everything they can to give them the best future, and also the best future for themselves. And honestly, like, this podcast is all about personal growth. It's all about being a better person today than you were yesterday. Because if you're the same person that you were yesterday, I mean, guys, what if the first year you guys were parenting, what would it be like if you were the same people the first year you were parenting? How would your kids be, or how would you guys be in your lives?
I think that when my daughter was first born, I was, you know, 16. So, like, I did kind of look at her more like, I wouldn't say burden. Like, I wouldn't say burden, but like, I did use more excuses. I didn't have the same mindset. I'm trying to do school, crazy ex-boyfriend. Like, I wasn't, you know, only thinking about what's best for her. It was like more about my future. Yeah. But as you know, she gets older, I get older, you grow and you learn. You just kind of, you grow up. Like I said, you grow up and
yeah, I gotta agree with Shaylee on that one. Like, at first, I was 17 when my daughter was born, and you know, just kind of finishing off high school, I guess. You want to go to parties, you want to go out with your friends, you get invited to stuff, and your answer is always, you know, I have to be with my kid. And sometimes when you're that young and you have a kid, the hardest part to get over is, what are your friends gonna say?
And it's kind of hard not to look at your kid like a burden at that age. Like, not saying she was, but you kind of look at it like, oh, I can't go out because, you know, I have to stay home with
like
the kid.
All your friends, you know, when you're that age, like, the most important thing in your life, you forget about your family. You know, when you're in high school, like, you could say screw your family. Mm-hmm. It's all about your friends. And now that you have kids, and you know your friends don't have kids, you're kind of scared of, like, oh, my friends are not gonna want to hang out with me anymore.
And
because,
they don't
because I have kids.
They don't.
And that's the thing. They kind of weed themselves out. But like, Joseph was one of those friends that he never cared. And you know, we kind of became friends. I don't know. I was 14, dude. We were 14.
I don't know. We were young.
But towards, you know, it was a little weird. I didn't tell anybody that my girlfriend was pregnant. Like,
I found out by what's her name?
Cassidy.
The neighbor told me. That's how I found out.
Shout out to you, Cassidy Bolin.
Yeah, I didn't tell my friends. To me, that was like, oh my gosh, that was a big shame. And now that I look back at it, yeah, it was kind of stupid and silly of me to think that way. But again, you know, we were teenagers. Like,
and that's another thing is, a lot of people think like, oh, when you're a parent, you have to stop going out. You have to, like, you know, only be with your kid. But I feel like if you don't go out and you don't have fun, you won't enjoy your kids, and you will just kind of like have regret, and you won't want to, you know, be even a parent sometimes. You know, you have to enjoy your life, and to have them enjoy their lives type thing.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know.
I mean,
if that
it's
makes
it's
sense.
nice if they go, with, like, in my case, I parent, like, I co-parent with my baby's mom, so she's with her 50% of the time, she's with me 50% of the time, so I do have that, little bit of free time where, even though I'm a dad 100% of the time, I don't have her with me 100% of the time. So I do have that time where I can go out and not have to, worry about coming home at a certain time because I need to put my kid to sleep. Shaylee, on the other hand, she doesn't have that
I'm mama
same.
24/7. It's me. So yeah, you guys, I go out every weekend, but my
Yeah.
my kid, let me tell you, she's taken care of. She's with my parents. It's usually around bedtime too. She might be up like an hour or so before I go out, but yeah.
And having fun doesn't mean go out and drinking all the time.
No, like
It
this is
means-
fun for us too.
Yeah, like,
my daughter's with
just
my mom now.
kind of a little reset button. Even, sitting at home doing nothing, scrolling through Facebook, sharing memes, that's fun.
You forget who you are if you don't. You just kind of like lose yourself. That's why like I always say like, okay, you guys, it's my kids with my mom. Like I'm not a mom anymore. I'm gonna have fun. I totally forget about
She
that.
literally said that like 2
On
hours
the
later.
way
She's like, I'm
here.
kid free.
Yeah, but I'm exhausted. It's been almost 7 years now, just me. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I really like that. That's kind of like what we're mentioning in the beginning, where in the videos we'll have a lot of fun. And I don't want you guys to think that I'm like two-faced or anything like that. I'm a party animal when I'm not on the podcast. And then I'm on the podcast, I'm a serious person. Like I said, that's the point of the podcast, to just bring everything together. And balance is so important in life. You can't just be work,
Yeah.
because then you're mentally gonna break down. You need to find a good balance to where you can have fun. Like they said, this is fun for me too, just doing this with my friends, and this is a good time, and it's something where we can grow together. We can bond that way. Yeah, I mean, we'll go out for a drink and have a good time as well. It's just use it wisely. We're not drinking every night and, forgetting our responsibilities, our jobs, kids, and all of that. We're finding a balance. We're using some time to grow, to kind of reset our buttons, to just, relax and reward ourselves for the hard work. So don't be afraid to, take a little personal time, take a little time to reward yourself for the hard work you put in. That way you can keep put in that hard work and keep pushing, and you're not gonna burn out because you gave everything and you burned out without giving yourself any personal time.
Yeah, can I say something? Also, don't judge anybody based on what they do to, free their mind. So everybody has a different perspective. Everybody has a different point of view. And their point of view, what they're doing might seem okay. Yes, to you it might not seem okay, but, it's not always good to start off on that foot where you judge somebody based on what they do to free their mind.
it could be a sanity thing, like I literally, you guys, real talk, I have mental breakdowns every day. I cry every day. Irving knows, I literally cry every day. I cry every day.
It might be the cost of some of them.
Yeah. But like that's part of what I'm saying. Like I go out on the weekends, I have a good time, get it out of my system, cry again the next day, but you push forward and you just keep going because I'm a mom.
Yeah, and that goes back to the last podcast where I'm going to bring this up a lot. You need to have a clear vision of what you want to accomplish. You need to have a clear vision of where you want to be. You got to have a plan set up, and you need to set up these times. That way you're not just wasting your time every day doing fun things and calling it quote unquote personal time.
Yeah.
You got to have that goal in mind, the end game, to do everything you can in your power to get there, while adding these little pieces in to have a good time. Because honestly, like we were saying, you can't make it all the way if you're gonna be serious in the game all the time, because how can you relate to other people? And we talked about networking and all that, getting to know people. How one of the biggest ways to get to know people is relating with them. How can you relate to people when you're just hardcore, like no fun, no nothing? Learn to have fun. Learn to make time with fun while it being pushing you towards your goal as well. making it a part of your curriculum, and that's real way you're gonna have success, honestly. And so maybe the choices back then that we've made were hard. Both Shaylee and Irving had their kids in high school, but they didn't use that to like bring them down. Another thing I wanted to talk about is when you do something wrong, our first we are trained in our minds is to punish ourselves, to be put ourselves down, and to be like all negative about it, which is so horrible. Which is really why I did suggest that the book Grit. It's another thing that kind of helps us reset our mind so we can keep pushing. We got to brush off our failures. Our failures are honestly what make us who we are. Do you guys think you would be who you are and have what you have if it weren't for your kids?
No way.
And that's honestly everything. Like, just using your failures as a learning experience, as a stepping stool to be even better, to just grow. I mean, I've made a fair share of mistakes myself, and I'm a culprit. A lot of the times I'll beat myself up, which is another reason why I'm trying to train my mind, which I do feel like I have a better control now, where if I make a mistake, it's like, oh, like, I mean, it hurts, but I just go, okay, boom, it's done. There's nothing I can do about it now, but look at it, grow from it, and be an even better person tomorrow.
And that's like another thing also about being a teen parent is in school, in like health class specifically, you kind of are taught that having a kid before being an adult or married or whatever is a mistake. You're told your kid won't have what every other kid has if you have this kid, in school and blah, blah, blah. Like, I was told by all of my doctors throughout my whole pregnancy, consider adoption, your kid won't have it, blah, 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 blah. But I'm kind of like, look at me, guys. My kid has more than most of you 35-year-old women give your kids. You can't just, look at mistakes always as mistakes. Other people might see them as mistakes, and you might even see them as mistakes, but that's the whole point of learning from them. And
it's just out of the normal for people. Somebody has a kid at 15, 16 that's out of their norm. So it's wrong. And, just because it's out of the ordinary or it's not normal, doesn't make it wrong.
And that's what we were kind of taught, that it was a mistake.
Yeah, and one thing that kind of helped me was like my parents, like your parents, family, friends, the way they see things is like, okay, yeah, like my mom, she, when she found out that I got my girlfriend pregnant, the first thing that she did, she cried with me. Like we cried together, and but she never said, like, she never told me, oh, what you did was wrong and now you're gonna have to suffer the consequences and blah blah blah. Like, she never made me believe that what I did was wrong. Yeah, she might have thought to herself, like, having unprotected sex that young is not the best way to go about things. But it was never like, what you did was such a terrible thing. And just because it was out of the ordinary, like I said, it doesn't make it wrong. It's not normal to have a kid that young, at least not now. Because, I mean, my grandma had kids, she was pushing out kids when she was 15. She had 15 kids.
In my situation, it was different. My mom did tell me the day that I told her to consider abortion. She punched me in the face. I was told that it was wrong, and my whole pregnancy I was kept in the house. At family reunions I was told to suck in. So I was like, my mindset was, oh shit, like, this is bad, it's embarrassing, blah blah blah. But I did not stop for a second, like, being a good mom. I didn't stop loving her.
And I'm probably like, the reason why your mom did that was because she thought she was gonna be judged as a parent.
Yeah. And I would be in grocery stores with my newborn baby, and people would say, oh, is that your kid? And I'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like, oh, you're too young to be a mom. And I'm just like, yeah, maybe. But
well, like, in her perspective, she doesn't want to be the parent of the girl who got pregnant at 15, which is not the way to go about things.
My mom is also religious, so she's Mormon. So she's also like really old school.
And I love now we were kind of breaking it between, the single parents and then just the single, me. But now we got the two perspectives from like two single parents. I like that Irving's situation was a lot more supportive and more loving based off like who he surrounded himself with. He had that where he had a group of people to help him through this hard process that he had to go through this hard time, and that's what helped him grow. He had people to be there for. I was there for him. I remember he was so embarrassed that he wouldn't even tell me. And even when I called him out, he wouldn't tell me.
I was like, "What? No, you're tripping, man. Nikayla pregnant? Never. I haven't even had sex. Remember?
Yeah,
we had a we had a like
the
a
list,
chart." According to the chart,
We were
as
both
Nikayla,
dishonest in that
yes,
chart.
as Nikayla was 6 months pregnant, I had yet to lose my virginity.
But no, so he had that situation for him where like people were surrounding him and caring for him, which good on his part. That's like a really big thing is surround yourself. I always talk about, my friendship group and, the people I surround myself with are people who help me grow. And how we learn from Shaylee's perspectives, sometimes the people closest to us aren't going to be those people who help us grow. So focusing in right now on Irving's perspective, he had that advantage where he can raise his daughter, and I know his mom and his dad, loving people, really played a big part in raising his daughter, and just the love they give to her. I just love seeing his family all together because of just how they act. They just know how to be and support each other, and that's something that's honestly really great and can help you grow. So that's good for him. Now let's go to Shaylee's perspective, where she had it a little harder, not as much support, but now that was talking about that hard outer shell that we were talking about on, I believe it was the first episode, where you got to be tough. You got to know what you want. You got to know what you want to accomplish and know who you are, to not let people push you around. You, like I said before, you don't want to follow that current. You want to be the current. You want to go the direction you want to go and accomplish who you want to go. And I'm sure that's something, Shaylee, that's helped you be strong, because let me tell you, Shaylee is strong. Don't mess with Shaylee. And honestly, that's probably something that, played a factor in Shaylee's strength, was learning how to, zone out what everyone thinks, zone out all the judgments like Irving was talking about, and just pushing forward and being who she is meant to be.
Yeah, I think one thing she's good at is setting boundaries, and that's what helped her get through, because she kind of, she saw, she gave birth, she saw her daughter, she knew where she wanted to be, she made a straight line, a straight path through it, and she kind of set up her boundaries over it, and nothing was going to get through those boundaries.
And I think that's like what Joseph is trying to show, like, we both come from totally different situations, but neither of us made excuses, and we're both successful single teen parents. I didn't have the love and support he did, but we both are basically in the same
And don't
place.
get me wrong, I went through my own kind of hardships. My baby's mom, I think I already said her name, Nikayla, she once when we broke up, she didn't want me to see my daughter. There was a period of time where she even called like Child Protective Services on me, things like that, to the point where I had to like take her to court, fight for my for my rights to have my daughter, my part of the time, my share of the time. Whereas in her case, she's the mom, and her dad's
Aubrey's dad
POS.
tried to murder us. So not she was given to me. There was no fight over
Yeah.
it. But that's like, me and Aubrey were strong together, and
Aubrey's
still,
a strong girl.
she is-
Aubrey is a strong girl.
That's really the big reason or the main reason of this podcast, is bringing all these perspectives, all these views, all these different situations of my life, of my friends' lives, and different people that I want to connect myself with in the future, who I want to connect you guys with as well. Is there's so many perspectives, and there's so many ways to be successful. There's so many reasons to not be successful. There's so many factors in life, and vision. That's like all I have to say. Have a vision. Have a plan. Figure out where you want to be. Don't stop till you get there. Set little goals till you get there. Javi had his situation where he had, people loving him all around. He did have some problems with his baby mama, but he got past that. Shaylee didn't have that problem with the opposite parent, but she had a lot of people in her own family just giving her a hard time for this. There's so many people. I don't want to knock anyone's hard situations and say, oh, I know you can get past it. But everyone's different experiences and hardships. That's for you. I believe in God, and I believe God gives us our hardships to create us, to help us become to reach our maximum potential. So if you think you can't reach your goal, I'm just gonna tell you right now, you can. And it's like what we brought up in the last podcast. You accomplish what you want to accomplish. You are the deciding factor. These guys are amazing people, and they make differences in many lives, in their jobs, in the people they network with, in their families, how strong they've become. And I'm really grateful to be their friends, and I'm grateful with the people I surround myself with, because honestly, you guys can do it. Anybody can do it. Just get the right mindset, get the right factors, and do
mindset, dude. That's where he's right. Mindset. So shit's gonna happen. Hardships are gonna happen. It's up to you to decide what you're gonna do about it. Everybody's gonna go through hard times. You gotta decide what you're gonna do about it. Are you just gonna let the shit hit the fan and just shower you in it, or are you gonna get past it? Get cleaned up, shower, and then go out clean the next day? Like, what are you gonna do?
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up a bit. Do you guys have any final comments for our viewers? Any personal growth tips?
Yes. Wait, do you, Shaylee? I'm sorry, I don't.
After you, Irving. After you.
Yeah. Never compare yourself as a parent to another parent. Never compare yourself. That is the biggest, or one of the biggest reasons to put yourself down, is because where you are as a parent now and where someone else is as a parent at that same time, it's going to be completely different, because everybody goes through different, life stages. So because you see, somebody has time, has more time in their day to spend with their kids, maybe they don't have to work as much as you do to make ends meet, so they get to spend more time with their kids. Like, that does not matter. You cannot compare yourself to anybody else, whether you're a parent or single. Even if you're single, you should not compare yourself to anybody.
And that's something I get judged for a lot, is a lot of parents baby their babies. Like, I swear in front of my kid. I feel like, maybe some people are like, oh, you cannot expose your children to that kind of language, but I'm like, it taught my kid not to be such a little crybaby, like.
And she knows not to use it.
Yeah, she does know not to use it. So it's like, that's grown-up talk, that's mama talk, like,
Because let's be honest, there was a certain point in school where we all started saying bad words.
And it was cool.
whether our parents were there or not.
But I do swear in front of my kid, and I do get judged on that a lot. But hey, you know what? My kid is a good kid, smart and everything.
But up to this point, even though I swear a lot, and I don't know, do you put swear words in the podcast?
He'll bleep it out.
I don't think I might have.
You can bleep it out.
I don't even remember. Well, but no, you guys, this is raw material. I want you guys to be who you are. This is perspectives. Who cares if let's say I didn't agree with that and I didn't swear, because I'm a perfect person. I don't swear. Let's say
if y'all saw him, you'd know he's a perfect person.
This is about everyone's perspective, open to everyone's perspective. Everyone can make it. That's why I want to show. You don't have to be a person that, a saint like me. But,
anybody could be successful, guys. It's just, your perspective on success. If your success right now is, all right, I'm going to take 20 minutes out of my day to, do homework with my kid, maybe read a book, put him to sleep. That's your definition of success at that point.
And anyone could be a parent. I don't have to tell y'all how to do that.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming. Just wrap it up. Points were, don't compare yourself. Don't judge other people. Anyone can make it. Have a clear vision, and let's do it. So thank you for coming, Irving and Shaylee. Trainwrecked. Go like and subscribe. Go show. They got some good content. I'll be popping up here and there, and they're definitely going to be popping up in our podcast. They definitely have good views and good connections of people with good perspectives, so we'll have them there coming in. Next video that I'm actually going to be doing with Shaylee and Irving, I'm going to introduce video into my podcast. We'll have a little sushi time with everyone. We're going to bring in Chavi, Shaylee, Daniel, hopefully James as well, just to kind of give a little fun aspect to the podcast. And that way you could have multiple perspectives in just one place and see, you know, it's good to have fun, good to have good perspectives and good friendships to grow yourselves in the beginning. So go ahead, drop that like button, hit the subscribe button. You guys are going to love the other content that's going to be coming out. This is launching this weekend in November. Super excited. Don't forget it. You guys have a great day. Let's grow together.
See you guys.
Woo!